I'm going to show you brick stitch. Brick stitch is a filler stitch, so it's really good for blocks of colour, blocks of stitching. It has a little bit of texture to it, as you'll see. And because it's a filler stitch, I'm actually using 3 strands of embroidery thread today instead of the normal 2. And that's just because it helps create a better fill, a bit more even, but it will depend on which fabric you're using and which thread you're using. And so to start off, you're going to want to do 1 short stitch, and then directly next to it, you're going to do a stitch which is approximately twice as long as the first one. And for your first row of stitching, you'll want to continue like this. So it will be 1 short stitch and 1 long stitch. And then once you've done your first row, as you'll see, you build this up so all the stitches are the same length after that point. And so when you're done, it actually looks like a row of bricks. And so once you've done your first row, you then want to bring your next stitch out as if you're doing a back stitch. So twice the length of your short stitch, and then bring it back to meet that first little stitch that you've done. And then for your next row or next stitch, that's the same. So you're now working only long stitches and bringing each long stitch back to meet the previous stitch. So you can keep layering this up, meeting each stitch with your previous stitch from the first row. And then I'm just going to do 1 more row to show you, and you'll see I'm keeping my stitches as even as I can, and that keeps your stitching nice and tidy. And then on your final row, you're just going to want to work a series of short stitches in between your long stitches so that you can fill in that edge to create your solid shape. And so you can see now that this has built up quite a textured shape. It looks a little bit like it's been woven, so really good for things like baskets or fences, perhaps if you're doing a landscape. And just finish off the last of those short stitches to complete the filling of your shape. And so you can see that this is brick stitch.